Shalom. Shalom Yasharala. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abanoah Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Korash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. excuse, excuse me. You know, there's a saying, actually, there was a song as a child, I remember. Always look at the brighter side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Do-do, 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 do-do. I don't know whether that's... I remember that song being sung. I think it was an British accent, maybe? I can't remember. It goes back to my childhood. Right? And thinking about that, you know, you sometimes get pissed off and angry at certain things or the situations that you're in or the curveballs that are being thrown at you in life, and you're fed up. And something as simple, how can you mess it up so bad? Sometimes the Lord puts you through these things, because remember, a man's goings are of the Lord, right? The Lord puts you in these predicaments so you learn from it, all right? Or the Lord is just testing you out, okay? The Lord puts you in these small predicaments, these small little, little mishaps, so you can rely on Him, just rely on Him, because we've got some bigger things to deal with, bigger fish to fry. Nevertheless, going back to that song, things could be worse. Always look at the brighter side of life. You feel, you feel that, okay, you see certain things, and you just, and you sort of think to yourself, man, I want things to be a little bit more smoother in terms of my daily activities, because sometimes you got to deal with so much. But then you think to yourself, things could be much worse. So you got to be thankful for what you have. You got to be grateful for what you have. The Lord blessed you with a job so you can earn your daily bread, even though work, we don't want to work, but we work to earn what? To get that cheddar, that money. I shouldn't really quote Big Pun, but I'll say it. Big Pun said this once. He goes, "I'm not a rapper." He goes, we just work for the cheddar. We just do this for the cheddar, the money. Pun was one of my favorite rappers back in the day. Actually, still is. But nevertheless, we work for the money to earn our daily bread. There's people out there that are homeless. There's people out there that are paraplegics. There are people out there that don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And that's real. Okay? And when you have those snowy nights, and especially in England, right, and it's been raining periodically. It rains, like a whole bunch of rain just comes, and then it stops for about 20 minutes and it starts again, and people out there that don't have no place to go, to a place to wash, a place to, to lie down, a place to sit down and meditate, a place to cook their food, all right? Things could be a lot worse. So Barakti Yahweh for these gifts the Lord has given us, man. These blessings. So you should be thankful. There was a stand-up comedy show back in the day I watched. I think it was Cat Williams. I know a lot of you Jakes watch it because we're all pretty much on the same temperature or the same vibration. We pretty much watch the same shows. I've been noticing that as well, the same sort of little, especially my age group anyway. It was Cat Williams. Cat Williams said that he went to Martin Lawrence's house. Martin Lawrence had the big mansion and the bowling alley, and Then he went back to his house and he kicked over the table or something, and he said, "I don't even feel grateful about what I have right now, because I want to go live in Martin's house." You know. But the thing is, the way these individuals acquire their wealth, we know what the left hand side do. You know, and because the Cat Williams said that. He said he wasn't grateful about. I mean, Cat Williams obviously said it in a funny way, because when he went to Martin's house and he stayed there, you know, he had the tennis court, the basketball court, the bowling alley, a cinema room, you know. It's probably immaculate, beautiful home. But then again, those are trinkets. I mean, sorry, that's a consolation prize on this side. Okay, and then you go back to your apartment or your home, which is probably nice, you know. May not be luxurious, but it's probably nice, and there's nothing wrong with that. And he wasn't grateful for what he had, because he kept comparing what he had to next man. You know, I've never been like that, because I've never been of this world. Um, but the thing is, you got a lot of people out there that are like that, right? And being in this truth takes away all the burden of all the nonsense and all the stupidity and all the power play moves and all the uh, uh, um, comparing yourself to next man. It just goes out the window. You don't need, because each day I sometimes think about the f ups in my, the mess ups or the fuck ups I had in the past, things that I've gone through, and I just think to myself, Barakti Yahal Bashim Yashai, right? Whether I make it through or I'm born in the kingdom, I don't have to live through that bullshit ever again. Ever. Because this is that last ride, man. This is that last, that last little hell that we got to endure until the Lord returns. Because the kingdom of heaven is in us. Okay? The kingdom of heaven is in us. If you are chosen, of course. Right? So be thankful for what you have. Okay? If you have 2 eyes, you've got your limbs, you can walk and talk, you can earn your daily bread, and most importantly, you can pray to His Majesty Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, saying the royal name. Hey, you got that golden ticket anyway, And golden ticket cannot emphasize the importance of that name and the blessing that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai has giving you these things. So don't worry about um, anything else. Be thankful for what you have. Okay? Now, I've got a habit of waffling on a bit. I guess it's probably that damn coffee. But nevertheless, it's a couple of scriptures. Ephesians 5:20. Giving thanks always for all things unto the Most High. Salaki. Giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father. All right? In the name of our Adawan Yahushai Hamashiach, or Lord Yahushai Hamashiach. Always give thanks. If you're going through hell, you give thanks. If you're going through a nice sort of a smooth, like the Isaac brothers would say, a smooth sailing period, give thanks. Because the Lord gives you rest periods in between as well, before the next little level of heat comes your way. That heat wave, right? Lord willing, we can endure these things, man. Okay, so give thanks. Because remember, acceptable men are in the furnace of adversity. Okay, and that goes to some women too. They're chosen, they deal with the situation, and they're chosen to deal with it because the Lord deems them acceptable as well. But this is mainly for the men, because the men make up the body. Okay? The Israelite men, by the way, not you damn heathens. We don't give a shit about you. All right? I've got like Proverbs 23, verses 4 and 5. Okay? Now, a lot of our brothers and elders had talent, but they put that behind them to focus on the work. Hence the reason, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, a lot of us Israelites are awake, even Israelite foreigners like myself, right? So, otherwise they could have become football stars and basketball stars and lawyers and doctors and businessmen and, you know, uh, fighting in octagons. Is it the octagon? Octagons, or the octagon, or the boxing ring, and become martial artists, and kind of being like a Jake version of Chuck Norris, or like a Michael J. White type person. You know what I mean? And you can see the talent out there. Is an array of our teachers that have all sorts of talent, man. Some of our teachers are excellent carpenters, builders, man. They could they could have a huge construction companies and all that, but they're doing their thing. But they're doing it in a humble way, what they're doing to earn their daily bread, not expanding to the level to be rich. Okay. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with having money. All right. There is nothing wrong with having money. But the thing is, if there's 24 hours in a day, all right, if the law, if you got those 8-9 hours you got to work, you work. But you don't say, oh, I'm gonna do another 7 hours on top of that because I want to earn that extra £1,000 or $1,000 or whatever. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do that. Okay, because then that takes away from watching videos, meditating, praying, reading, listen, meditating upon Yahweh Shem Yashai, even making videos yourself, and it takes away from that. All right, because this world is on its way out. So you stack up all that money, and then you get news. Oh, the news comes on saying, oh, the financial system has crashed, and your money ain't worth nothing. Then what you gonna do? All them years you put in, that's gonna happen to a lot of people, man. They got money put away in different accounts. As for what this call a safe, safe money, or money for a rainy day. And like I said, if you earn your money lawfully, the Lord has blessed you with a good job, and you're a foreman or something, or a construction company, and you're earning great money, and you just do your 40 hours a week, and you still earn great money. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having nice things, but you don't go out your way to do 15-20 hours a day. All right, you don't do that. Not unless the Lord is put in a predicament where you have to earn that money to keep a roof over your head. The Lord understands that too. But you don't do all them hours in the day just to say, I'm going to stack the money up. You don't do that. All right. If you got enough to get by, take care of your bills, buy things for yourself, buy some nice things for yourself, reward yourself or whatever, take care of your wife, children, or your, if some of your brothers have extra wives, or, I don't know your situation. You take care of your families, your children, your elders, that's a barakian. Leave it there and focus on growing in this truth, man. Because time is short. You can feel it in the air that the Lord's going to put the stop button on the teaching very soon, and our apostles and teachers won't be teaching anymore, man. So you better get it while these beautiful, while this beautiful truth is out there, while these cakes are hot. Grab them, all right? Because once they're cold, they ain't going to be, it's not going to be nourishing. All right, so you better grab it while it's hot. Proverbs 23:4. Labor not to be rich. Cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set, verse 5, wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly as an eagle toward heaven. All right, so I've got the NLT as well. I checked out the NIV as well. Actually, I like the NIV one too. It's beautiful. Let's go to the NLT. Proverbs 23:4 and 5. Don't wear yourself out to be, no, don't wear, Salakia, just excited, and don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit. Verse 5. In the blink of an eye, wealth disappears, for it will sprout wings and fly away like an eagle. All right? It'll fly away. And, it's not going to be, like I said, like as mentioned earlier, man, once this financial system crashes, that's that. All these jakes you got out there, man, holding these stacks to the ear like a mobile phone. What are you going to do then? You're going to take the charagma. You can hold the charagma to your ear, in your hand to your ear like a mobile phone. You probably might have the damn phone in the charagma. That's what you jakes are going to do. You're 2/3. So don't do that, man. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful that the Lord has chosen you. Be thankful that the Lord has given you his name, man. The name. All right? The name is very important. All right? Acts 4:12, there's only one name under heaven that we must be saved. And do we not do the Lord's Prayer daily in the Lashawan Kodash? Huh? This is what it's about, man. This whole prayer, as Elder Apostle Tahar said once, he actually says it all the time, Lord willing. From my recollection, Apostle Tahar, he may not have said it in these exact words, right? But he said that the Lord's Prayer encompasses everything. It's like a complete prayer for everything. All right? So, well, what do we do? Let's go here. Actually, let's go to Matthew 6 and 9. I'm going to read the whole thing. Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, Abanawa Yahweh, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I always say Abanawa Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Okay? Because Yahushai is our mediator, our king, his majesty. All right? And yes, we worship him. We worship Yahweh and Yahushai. We bow down to Yahushai. Okay? And we bow down to Abanawa Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, Abanawa Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread. You understand? Focus on that. Verse 12, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Verse 13, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Okay? You leave it at that, you're going to be good money. All right? So be thankful for what you have. All right? Don't dwell too much on what's going on in the world. All right? If that demon is jumping on you where you're trying to compare yourself to these TikTokers, these YouTubers or whatever, a lot of them are just paid actors to make you think that way. Remember, YouTube influencers, they influence. Okay? It's a form of witchcraft to make you think a certain way. All right? Some of them have been paid to act a certain way, to do certain things, to influence other jakes to do the same stupidity. So they think that they can be rich. You remember that story about that woman that was homeless? She moved to Texas with her 3 or 4 children. It's a so-called black woman, a Jake woman. She moved, I don't know from which part of America, and then she was sleeping with her children inside the vehicle. Why she came to Texas? Why? Because she wanted to be a successful YouTuber. When the stupid woman didn't understand the fact that you could be a YouTuber from anywhere. You could live in the middle of Alaska in a log cabin, right? As long as you got internet connection, you can YouTube from there. You don't have to be around a bunch of YouTubers. I guess you was talking about maybe doing collabs or whatever. I don't know. But people do all sorts of stupidity, man, because they get influenced into doing that. All right. Now, some people out there have made it, been successful in this thing, in that game. But don't worry, don't dwell on it. All right. If you have the truth, that's the best blessing, man, that you can get, because a lot of our people are just lost in the source, man. All right. This kingdom is on its way out, and you got Jake out there talking about 10-year plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans. This is where I'm going to be. Generational wealth. The fuck are they on about? Are they even watching the news? I mean, are they watching the apostles and elders and the prophets and maybe even other camps that are in this, that are teaching the same doctrine in the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai? Do they know that the news is being filtered through the scriptures and everything's coming to pass? Do they know that America's going to be blown off the map? Other parts of the world are going to be hit too? Do they not know that? And just because you live in England or different parts, other strongholds of the so-called white man, they're still going to be affected too. Okay, they may not be completely nuked off the map, but explosions will kick off. Everything's going to happen the way it's going to happen there in America. The only difference is America's going to be completely nuked because that's where the biggest deliverance is going to happen. Do they not? They don't even know that. And I keep thinking, what the fuck do these youngsters do, man? Are they that stupid? They're just like, the Lord is just, anyway, I don't want to digress too much and say too much. So don't compare yourself to them, man. Be thankful for what you have, all right? Be grateful for what you have, all right? You got your daily bread. You got a roof over your head, all right? You're a Jake man. The Lord giving you a woman to keep you balanced out, to keep you at ease, You got your health, But most importantly, you got the name of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. Count yourself blessed. All right, I'm gonna leave it there now. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala Shalom.